Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Social Media Decoded podcast, the number one podcast to help you understand social media better, to grow your business, get more leads and clients, and to monetize. And today, I am excited because we have a special guest. Now, on the Social Media Decoded podcast, we have not dove really deep into Pinterest, but I know that Pinterest is a very beneficial platform for business owners. And so today I have the number one Pinterest expert over all social media on the podcast today. So I hope that you have your pens and papers ready so that you can take all the notes, because we are speaking to Precious, and she is the Pinterest expert. So welcome, Precious. So great to have you today on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I love talking all things Pinterest, so I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, so we're going to chat about what you should be doing before you market your business on Pinterest. Also, there's so many new updates to Pinterest, and we're going to get into that too. But before we get into that, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got started in social media?
Yeah, so I started off as a virtual assistant 3 years ago. I was like looking at something recently and I was like, I've been in business for like 3 years. It didn't even click when it happened. But yeah, I started as a VA, and my very first client, she wanted me to help her with her Pinterest. And at that time, I didn't even know people like pay people to like do their Pinterest for them, because I'm like what most people who are very unaware of how Pinterest works now. I'm just like, what, you pay people to pin for you to save pins to your board, but it's completely different than that. So from her, I really started diving more into it, and it kind of just fired from there. I started off as a VA, quickly went into social media, so I was both Instagram and Pinterest. And then in 2021, I completely said, only Pinterest. I'm going to be the go-to person for Pinterest. And it's been amazing since then.
Yes, I love that. And I tell everyone, niching down can help you. And so I like how you say, you know what, I'm just going to talk about Pinterest, because there are a
Yes.
bajillion platforms, and just as a marketer, it's just hard to keep up. And so I love how you just focus on Pinterest, because I think it is a very beneficial platform. So let's get into Pinterest. What type of businesses should be on Pinterest? Now, can you just tell people a little bit more about Pinterest? Because I think that it's changed so much that we may need a basis of what this app is really all about.
Yeah, so Pinterest is a search engine. So it's like a visual search engine. Think like Google, YouTube. You're going there and you typing something into the search bar to search for something. You're looking for something. You're there usually specifically for something. Now you can't go there. You can just scroll as well. But even then, when you're scrolling, your feed is based on the things that you have searched for in the past. So it's curated to your searches. So a lot of people forget that. They think, it's just another social media, but I don't know anyone, and maybe some of your listeners can change my mind on this, but I don't know anyone who goes to Pinterest and says like, "Oh, I wonder what this person is up to." We're not going to Pinterest to look at our followers, to see what their followers are doing. Even if you follow people, which more than likely you do, you follow them for their content. You're going there to see, maybe they have like some good content around social media marketing. Maybe they have good content around recipes, depending on what you're looking for. But you're going there specifically for the content. You're not going there to like really interact, engage, and do all those things. Yes, you can engage with the pins, but that's not your primary focus. You're really there because you are searching for something. You're looking for inspiration for something. You are like kind of like on a mission to find something. And that's really what Pinterest is about.
Yes, I love that. And you're so right. It is a visual search engine. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to Pinterest and saying, oh, what is Damon John up to today? No, I'm going to
No.
Pinterest to type in boohoo chic living room set, boohoo chic decor, kids' first birthday party, how to style your office. That's what we're going to Pinterest to look for. So when
Right.
you say that it is a search engine, that is very important to for people to think that it's not your average social media platform. This is a source of information. So
Yeah.
what type of business owners should be on Pinterest? Should all business owners be on Pinterest? Because I know to a lot of product-based businesses who may not think that they should be on Pinterest, but it's actually could be a good idea.
Yeah, if you are a product-based business, especially like an e-commerce business, Pinterest should definitely be something that's on your must-do list immediately, because it is a platform that people go to search for things, whether it is digital products or physical products. So if I'm going to find something like, I have one of my clients right now, she has a candle business. So people are on Pinterest, they're looking for things like that. They're looking for home decor and things like that. So if they come across her candles, or even if they're just on there and they see them, they might click on her link, go to her Shopify site, and then purchase the candles because that's what they, it's like, oh my God, this is something I want for my home. The same thing if you are an online business. So I like to think if you have content, Pinterest can work for you. So it's really about your content. So whether your content is products that you have or it's like digital content, so like blogs, videos, free offers, webinars, anything that people can go and get value from or go and see and purchase, you should be using Pinterest for that. I always say that there's businesses that you would think that's not on Pinterest, like real estate agents. I know that some real estate agents use it because of how they have changed how they market as a real estate agent. So now you see a lot of more creative way of marketing, and you can use that creative marketing to post your things on Pinterest as well to get people's because if I'm looking for a house or just house decoration or things like that, I might come across something that it's like, oh, wait. And then now you're a real estate agent. So now I'm going down this rabbit hole of learning about who you are. But it's really just depends on what is your content, how you decide to market it, and can it actually work for you? Because if the bigger brands are using it, you're not thinking like Target. Target is on Pinterest. And most of the time, I'm not going to Pinterest to look for anything from Target, but I might see something and be like, oh, let me go to Target website or go and Target in person. So think about it that way. It's always something that your business probably can use depending on how you are marketing your business.
I love that. And yeah, Target is on there. And every time I go on there, I'm seeing something. Summer faves at Target. Like this at
Listen,
Target.
all the big brands, Home Depot, you'd be like, what Home Depot? Home Depot is because you might be looking for lighting or something in your house. And now,
Right?
of course, all the big businesses are going to be running ads and stuff like that. But even then, like they are there and they are leveraging the platforms. They're paying somebody to do all this work for them because they see value in putting their business on Pinterest. So if they see value in it, it has to be some kind of value there.
Yes, definitely. So I know the specs on Pinterest matter, right? And so we have the pins, and everybody has the pretty pins. And what are your thoughts, or like the strategy for businesses? Because like you said, you have to have some content. Now, this is just like any other
Content is
platform. You got to have some content to market. Now, if you don't, it's going to be especially hard on Pinterest because it is such a visual platform. There is nothing else for you to post or do. It has to be visual and draw people in. So how important in today, because I know let me sit here and think. I've used Pinterest maybe about 2 years ago, but I do have pins that keep getting pinned from like my blog. So as everyone know, I started out as a natural hair blogger, and like my pin that I had created, like my natural hair regimen, it still gets pinned like 1,000 times a day. So it's just constantly getting pinned, and my content from years ago is still being viewed. But does it matter about our pins, like our actual pins? Should people be, taking time to create different pins, the same pin? Like, what's the strategy on Pinterest today for that?
Yeah, definitely different pins is the key thing. Pinterest like to call this like fresh content. So when I say content for Pinterest specifically, not for your business, for Pinterest specifically, this is the pin images. So for Pinterest, that is the content, and they don't want the same pin being pinned over and over and over again. Back in the 2010s or early 2010s, I would say you can pin the same pin over and over and over and over again, and it'd be fine. Now, since Pinterest has grown, things like that become very spammy. They're thinking about the user. The user doesn't want to see the same pin. And if you look at yourself as a user, you wouldn't want to keep scrolling and seeing that same pin over and over and over again. So definitely different pins, but you don't have to do too much. Some people do too much. Like keep it simple, get some templates, and use those templates over and over and over again. Just switch them up a little bit. Maybe switch out the pictures that you're using or the stock images that you're using or just the text. I'm very simple. Most of my pins are simply just text because that's quick for me. I can quickly create 10 pins in 10 minutes because I'm not trying to find all these different images and all these things. I'm just keeping it simple because I still want to draw people in with the text or the copy on the pin so that they know what they're going to get as well.
That's so key. And yeah, you could be simple or you can jazz it up as much as you need to. I know that like when I'm searching for like vacations, because who isn't searching for vacations on Pinterest?
All the
It's just
time.
all like it's just beautiful and it's the beach and the ocean and all the things. And so it just really depends. And another thing I want to talk about is the description. Because see here I'm talking about Instagram. Pinterest is a search engine and it matters what we put in that description. So when you're
Mhm.
on Pinterest, now you have the actual pin, but you also have like a heading and a description. So how much does that description matter for businesses who are trying to get their business seen and use Pinterest as a visibility booster for them?
Your description matters a lot. Everything is searchable on Pinterest, meaning that their AI system can read everything. So keywords are very important because it is a search engine. So what you put in your description, what you put in your header, what you put on the pin image itself are terms that Pinterest can pick up, and that's what they're going to basically index your pins as. So that's also why it's very important when you are creating your images that you don't use images or stock photos that don't correlate to what you're talking about. So, like, I like to use the example of if I'm talking about 5 ways to become a VA, and then I put a picture in the background of a cookie, it seems like, okay, it's just a cookie. No, because Pinterest is going to pick up on that image, and now they're going to index your pin as with the keyword cookie as well. Even though this has nothing to do with cookie, it's nothing about food. So they might do cookie, they might do food because the AI system is reading the image and saying, oh, there's a cookie on this photo. It might have something to do with food. So you want to make sure you're very specific about things like that, which is why with me in marketing, I don't really use too many images because there's not really images to describe marketing. So I try to keep it really simple for those reasons. So if you have like a business where your images make sense, then it's good to have them. But yeah, going back to that is that all the keywords on your images in your description, you want to be using relevant keywords. You want to be thinking about the user and how they are searching for things. So like for example, my client who I was just speaking about who has the candles, she has candles that are that she makes them specifically in Senegal, and they are like they have these really cool names, but I would put the name in the description, but that's not a keyword because nobody's going to be searching for that name. They're going to be searching for soy wax candles, unique candles, not even DIY candles, but handmade candles, things like that, which are the keywords associated with her candles. So you want to think about what are people going to be searching for when it comes to my content, and not just like what I would use.
That right there is the number one tip that I hope everyone has wrote down because no it's they're not going to be searching for the specific product that you have, right? Like the name of it. So you want to make sure that those keywords are definitely in there. That was
Yeah, you
like
have to
the golden
think
nugget.
kind of like more broader than niche when it comes to Pinterest. Like some people like to think, oh, well, this is what I really want them to, this is what it is. So I have another client, and she does it's like kind of like guided meditations, but they are called something else. But she was like, that doesn't really work out because people are not going to be searching for that term. They're not going to like they might see it and they're like, oh, this is what I need. But more than likely, we'll be searching for guided meditation because that's like the broader spectrum of things, and it kind of falls into that, even though it's a little bit different. But it's like we got to bring them in first, and then be like, this is actually what it is because they're like second graders. I always say when you're searching for something, you're not going to be that specific. You want to be a little bit more broader.
Yes. Be more broad when searching on Pinterest. Now,
Mm-hmm.
there are so many new features on Pinterest, and
Yes.
business owners who are listening may be like, oh my God, where do I even start? Right? So what are some features of Pinterest that can be very useful for business owners? Because I mean, over the last 2 years, it has just blossomed. And so let's talk about some features that are best when, business owners want to approach Pinterest to use it.
Yeah, so the newest feature is, or one of the most newer popular ones is idea pins. So idea pins is very similar to Reels, TikToks, but yet, and like IG stories, like all kind of mixed together, but also different in the sense that they don't disappear. They're really good for engagement. And right now, they don't link to anything specifically unless you have like if you are an e-commerce seller, you can link to your products, which is also why really great to be e-commerce seller on Pinterest. But I will say they might be coming out with links soon for idea pins. Don't tell them I told you all that, but there I was on a beta testing where they are testing out idea pins with links. So my account, I have idea pins that can link to places like to my content off the platform, but most people do not have that yet. So I am pretty positive they're going to be probably rolling that out. So it's going to be even better because now you'll be able to repurpose things like your reels, your TikToks that are valuable, not just any of them. Make sure they are valuable because one, people are coming there for the content and or inspiration. So you don't want to just put anything on Pinterest when it comes to your idea pins. You know, if you are making your morning coffee, if that has nothing to do with your business, yes, it's cool on your IG stories because people want to get to know you on Instagram, but on Pinterest, they are there for your content. So you want to make sure you put things for your content. I love this saying, like Pinterest is kind of the anti-platform. It's not about you. They don't care about you. They're not there for you. They are there for your content.
Absolutely. Like they want to see your coffee on the gram, but they don't want to see your coffee.
You know, because
when
Pinterest. You're on Instagram, it's a different. Most people are kind of like in that if they're watching your stories, more than likely they are already following you, unless they're trying to be nosy, but usually they are already following. So that means they are warmed up to you a little bit. You know, Pinterest is cold traffic. They do not know you. They're coming across your content, so they only care about the content. If you get them onto like your email list or something like that, that's when you can warm them up. Maybe invite them to follow you on Instagram. And that's when they care about seeing how you make your delicious morning coffee because now they're trying to get to know you better as opposed to not just about like your content. Pinterest is about your content. So idea pins is a great way to like show off your content in a new way and increase your engagement as well.
That's important, engagement, because people can comment on Pinterest. So
yes.
I think that, like you said, you know, use Instagram as that get to know you platform. But when they get over to Pinterest, it's all about this is the amazing content I have on my blog, on this podcast, on this thing.
I always tell people it's like a portfolio, a huge portfolio of your content in one place for people. They can see all your content in all the different places and you can send them to all these different things and not just be focused on like something that you're talking about right now. It can be your content from years ago that is still very much valuable, still something that they can use and be useful to where they are in their journey.
So let's talk about group boards because I used to be on some of those. Is that still
relevant?
Just
skip it.
It's not relevant. It's not relevant. So I used to be on the group boards and I used to use Tailwind. Now, is all of this stuff still strategic? Because as I'm listening to you, I'm over here thinking like maybe you should pin some of your blog posts on there because now since I've kind of transitioned my brand to coaching and consulting and I'm not a natural hair influencer anymore, I haven't really posted that much social media content. I tried to, but then I stopped. So are the group boards still active? Should we still be using those? Because it's confusing.
Yeah, I would say typically no, don't worry about things like group boards. Unless it's just like a very strategic group board where it's like either maybe you have a whole bunch of people in your business, like your other industry experts, and you all come together to create a board where you know you guys are going to be active and sharing the same type of content and it makes sense. But really with group boards, usually you got to share. I think you got to like share from the group boards a lot of times. When you're on Pinterest as a business, it's really about your content. You shouldn't be worried about sharing other people's content unless you really have to, but you really don't have to share other people's content. It's about your business. And a lot of people get that confused because they're like, well, should I be sharing, or saving other people's content? And it's like, not when you're using it as a business. It's about your content. You're not on Instagram posting other people's content on your feed. So why are you doing it on Pinterest? It's about your content. You want people to find your content and come to your profile and see your content. So group boards, I don't really use them. Well, I don't use them at all. Some of my clients, they have some of them because they usually, when they come to me, they were already in those group boards and we'll keep some of them. But usually I don't even really pin to them because it's not really a key thing anymore like it used to be.
Oh, that was so good. No more group boards for me. So thanks for sharing that because I am not using these group boards anymore. And so
a lot of them kind of fell off too. So it's like, are they even, and I don't know if it's even any way to see like how active they are still, or if it's really worth it. So, of course, in your analytics, and like I said, because I don't use group words like that, I can't even be for sure, because I would never even check for that. But maybe in your analytics, it will show you if that board is bringing you some traffic, or at least getting your pin seen. If you are seeing like results from that board, then yes, keep using it. But I wouldn't like go out and search for any group boards. Like, I don't even know if people still like be talking about them.
Well, I'm glad I asked that question. And you brought up something too that I want to lead us out with is analytics. Because what should we be looking for that's performing well so that we can continue to create that same process and those same strategies so that we keep doing good and our content, does well on Pinterest? What should we be looking at when it comes to our analytics?
Yeah, so before you even really get started on Pinterest, you should know what is going to be your key performance indicators. Like, what do you want to see happening within 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months? And with Pinterest, I would say if you are a new account, that 3 to 6 months is when you probably should start looking at your analytics. Before then, you might not see anything that great, because it is a search engine. It does not move quickly. It's supposed to take time. It's there for a long-term strategy, not like something that's going to work overnight. So don't let that deter you, because once your content starts working, how would it feel to have something that you pin from last year actually still bringing you people to your blog, to your YouTube, to whatever it is that you're sending traffic to? So definitely be aware of that. But yeah, so if you're trying to say get more people to listen to your podcast, then you want to be paying attention to how many outbound clicks you're getting to your website, to your different podcast episodes. From there, you might want to be paying attention to like which pieces of content is getting you like the most outbound clicks or the most pin clicks. So pin clicks means like they just click on it to like get a closer look on it, but they don't go off the platform just yet. So maybe there's something where you're catching people's attention, but then they're not actually going to your website or something. So it could be like, oh, well, maybe this is a nice pin design, or maybe it's a nice topic. Then they're like, nope, it doesn't seem interesting enough. So you have to decide what it is that you want to see, and then kind of go from there. Because I have some clients who just want more visibility of their content. So they want more higher impressions and things like that. It's really about, they're using idea pins to kind of just get their name and their brand more seen. Where I have some people that want to kind of get more people onto their website. So of course, outbound clicks are going to be very important. Some just want to see more engagement. So we're looking at things like saves, pin clicks, and outbound clicks. So it really depends on you and deciding like, what is it that I want to see? And now trying to monitoring it for the next 3, 6, 9 months to a year.
I'm so glad you said that. It takes time. I hope we're all listening to that.
People think, this is the funny part. I always tell people, they're like, well, when you're using like a platform like YouTube, or even if you're a podcaster, and podcasting is very similar because it's not something that happens quickly. Your podcast is going to take time. So just like that, it's the same thing, but it's something that you're putting in the effort to, because you know that the outcome of that long-term strategy is something that's going to actually work for you. People can always refer back to your podcast episodes, or they can always find your content on Pinterest, even when it's not something you're not talking about anymore. Whereas usually with something like Instagram, it's like, what are you talking about right now? It's the latest podcast episode right now. It's the latest freebie I have right now. It's the latest offer I'm doing right now. What is my new product right now? It's not all the things that I'm having, because we're trying to kind of focus it. And also with Instagram, people think it works fast, but you've probably been on Instagram for a long time. And even if you're getting clients from Instagram, those clients have probably been following you already for a little while. They didn't, some of them might be overnight depending, but also it's usually they are there. They've been following you. They've been watching you. It's not something that actually happens overnight. You just think it does because you've been using Instagram for so long, as opposed to seeing a Pinterest and you're like, this is new. It's taking so long, but it's really taking the time it's supposed to take. And we just have to be patient and know that it's going to work for us, because I have people who find me on Pinterest all the time.
I love that. And you're right about the podcast. Is it going on 3 years for the podcast? And see, it's slow,
a lot of
steady
content
growth. right? Slow, steady growth. And like you said, people can come back to this podcast and I have links and things that they can always go back to, or they can always find me on a different platform. If I say, follow me on Instagram, but I had to be consistent to do those things and to have those call to actions. And then I gradually started to see people, you know, responding to what I was saying on the podcast. Because I'll be honest, just like Precious said, I was like, well, when are people going to start DMing me from the podcast? Like, I've put out 10 episodes. And it's like, no, now I have 100 and plus episodes 3 years later. Now it's like, oh, Michelle, now people are starting to see. Now they're starting to listen because it's been around. People have listened to it and now it's out in that sphere. So just think about that with any social media platform, not just Pinterest. Think about that with Instagram. Because it's not easy to grow on there either.
It's not. And people have to remember, it's like, you just got to be consistent. Consistency is a key word for every platform there is, no matter what it is that you're doing, whether it's like a social platform or a search engine or a podcast, you have to be consistent. You can't think that if you pin on Pinterest for a month and then you don't see any progress, that it doesn't work. No, you stop too soon. Like, that's just what it is. Like, when clients come and work with me, there's a 4 to 5 month commitment, because I'm not going to have you telling me in a month from now that Pinterest doesn't work. We literally just started. Like, the pins are just getting out there. Pinterest don't even know what you're talking about yet. So you have to know that's going to happen. That's why I always tell people, if you're going to start with Pinterest, it's good to already have like a bank of content, which is why I really love talking to podcasters about this, because usually they have a bank of content. And then you're knowing that this is something that you're working towards growing to help your business grow in the future. It's not something that you're like, oh, I'm trying to use Pinterest to grow my business in 2 months. It's like, if you start now, it's like, I'm looking to use Pinterest to help me grow my business in 2023, because it's like, we're midway through 2022, you know, when we put in the groundwork. Now in 2023 is when you're like, okay, Pinterest is really working for me. It's not something that is going to be quick. And I'm always honest about that, because it does require patience. It does require consistency. But a lot of the stuff that you're going to be doing is repurposing the content that you have already created. So you're just putting it out there on Pinterest.
Yes, well, thanks for the podcast ideas. Let me revamp my Pinterest and get it together.
Maybe
I'm on too many platforms and doing too many things to even think about. No, I can't think about Pinterest because it's going to be slow and steady, and I'll just keep getting people forever and ever. So once I get my new website together,
you already said it. You already was like, look at my blog post from when I was doing it. Like, and that's the key thing there. Like, people are still finding your content from years ago. Like, if you're trying to be in your business for the long haul, then more than likely your content, even though certain things change, like I have Pinterest blog posts that are no longer fully relevant, but usually the foundational aspects do not change. Like, it's still a search engine. Keywords is still very much important. I might have to update a few things because things have changed, or, you know, maybe analytics have updated. But overall, even if they read a blog from 2019, it's still going to be something in that blog post is still going to be relevant. And then they're going to see that I'm still creating newer blog posts, newer videos that they can go look at as well. Same thing for like a podcast, because I've done this for a lot of podcasts. I listen to, like, if I find an episode that I like and it's a good podcast, next thing I know, I'm binging the whole podcast. I'm 3 years in and none of this, like, is this stuff even still relevant? Oh, I'm going to listen anyway. I might have 1 or 2 gems or something like this, but it's because that content is something that's so great. So you got to look at it that way.
Awesome. Well, this has been such an informative episode all about the power of Pinterest. And I'm so excited that we got to chat, but we would love to know more about you and more about your business. If anyone is thinking of hiring somebody to help them with Pinterest, please reach out to Precious, because I am not that girl for you, but she is.
Yes. Definitely follow me on social media. My favorite platform to hang out on is Instagram, because that's where I like people to get to know me. But you will find all my content on Pinterest. And if you are interested in getting started on Pinterest, I do have a free, I don't know, my mind completely just blanked. Free training. It's called the 3 P's to Pinterest Success, how to turn your content into cash. So I'll make sure you get that link for your audience to have. And definitely come check me out. Come say hi and let me know what was your favorite gem from this episode.
Yes, and all of that information will be down below in the show notes. So make sure that you go and follow her on Instagram and check out her Pinterest as well, probably to get some ideas to figure out what you need to do, and then hit her up so you can work with her. But this has been such a great episode. Thank you so much, Precious, for coming and dropping these expert gems about Pinterest.
Thank you for having me.